Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host,
Well, welcome
Joseph
to the Monday Money Tip
Sangle.
Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joe Sangle. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Megan Hibbert. Are you fired up?
Fired up.
And today we are going to talk about something that is awesome. What are we going to talk about?
Yes. So today we're talking about intentionally blessing others. So our topic for today is, today during this Thanksgiving week episode, we're going to talk about giving. We're going to talk about blessing others intentionally. So I think this is the topic I know you're passionate about, but I think us as a collective here at I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, and the Monday Money Tip Podcast are very passionate about it and intentionally blessing others, and especially during this time. It's Thanksgiving week, which I love because I love Thanksgiving because of the food and because you get to be thankful. But then move aside Thanksgiving because Christmas is coming. So
Yes,
I love
absolutely. We love Thanksgiving around here. Do you have like traditional food that you have on Thanksgiving?
Yes. Well, if I
Tell
go
me
to
some things that you have to have.
I have to have. My mom makes this like strawberry pretzel salad, which sounds.
I know what you're talking about. It
Yes.
has some cream cheese in it or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. I don't
It
like
is
it as a
amazing.
kid, but I don't know what I was missing out on. I don't know. And then there's like a broccoli and cheese like casserole that I really love. And then like I like the sweet potato casserole with like the crumbly stuff on top. And dressing. Apparently it depends on where you go. If you have dressing or stuffing, they're apparently different. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're different.
I have stuffing that's dressed
We have
in a tux. No.
we have dressing at our house, but other houses they have stuffing.
For me, like, do you just have turkey or is there
We
a
have
ham?
turkey
or-
and ham.
And ham.
At
So-
my family. Jordan's family's different.
Okay.
So there's no guarantee what we'll do at Jordan's family, which I like. So a lot of times we've all had multiple like normal Thanksgiving food. So a lot of times his parents will do like something totally different. That's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
You know,
So I like that.
Yeah.
That way you have this wild card and it's
Yeah.
kind of unpredictable. I know that for our family, I grew up and we always had turkey and duck. And we have like multiple types of dressing. So we have regular dressing or stuffing. We've called it dressing for some reason. And then we would have oyster dressing, get fired up. And we would have giblet dressing or giblet, depending on how you pronounce it, which is like chopped up pieces of the hearts and gizzards and livers, I guess. I don't know. I never asked.
I'm not picky, but I think I'm out on that one.
It was organs. Let's just say that. It's awesome. And for those listening on a Monday, I don't know what they're thinking of right now. But we also have cranberry sauce. It's out of the can. It's got to
You
be
just
the
like
gelatinous
plop.
globule where it plops out. Like
Yeah.
that. I think that I nailed it right there. And then you slice it. So nice. And then you cut it in half again. So they're half circles. Unbelievable. And then we have, of course, we have pumpkin pie.
Yeah, all the pies.
Pecan pie. If you're in the South, it's pecan pie. We also have apple pie and black raspberry pie.
I
which
love
is
apple pie.
Just unbelievable.
So
Vanilla
good.
ice cream. And then we have naps. Food coma naps.
The tryptophan.
Yeah, everybody, tryptophan or whatever
What's
it
it
is.
called? Massive.
Yes. And so if you're watching on YouTube, we would love to hear what your favorite foods are for Thanksgiving. And if you have some weird recipe, we'd love to see that. Give us a link to it, maybe on Best Recipes or allrecipes.com. I love doing that. One year, there's this restaurant in Baltimore. They have the best crab cakes in the world in Maryland. And G&M Crab Cakes ships them. And I had them shipped to my parents' house, and we had crab cakes. Woo! With lump crab meat. Pretty unbelievable. Makes me fired up. So it is Thanksgiving week. We're going to talk about intentionally blessing others. It's episode number what?
177.
177. We hope you're going to have a great week this week. It's a great way to have time with friends and family, conversations, catching up. And we're going to go, before we talk about that, to one of my favorite parts of the podcast. You know what time that is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life Membership Program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life Certified Coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month.
All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully funded life. Courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT.
My current money events section idea that I'm going to talk about today
Is
resting. Resting. It's important to rest. Did you know that?
I love resting.
This is going to be interactive banter, not just Joe talk this time, okay?
Okay.
It's important and it contributes to better decision making. Did you know that?
I fully believe that.
I hope that you have plans, Megan, and our podcast listeners, that you have plans to have no plans for a portion of your upcoming week. Maybe a nap while watching football, or a nap out in the deer woods, sitting in that climber stand, looking out over the 40 and down with your nose pointed into the wind. Unbelievable. It's awesome. Something about some song that I heard by Luke Bryan. Something like Red Dirt Rich and Flint River Paid, something like that.
I do like Luke Bryan.
Fishing, loving every day.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Got catchy songs.
And I wanted to talk to you, everyone, about letting your money rest too. Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Your money can take a nap. Ben Franklin can take a nap.
Some people's money have been taken a nap.
No. Most of them are on a very, very fast,
They're
jet
thinking,
ski ride out of their pocket.
They're thinking it's a nap because it hasn't made it into their account.
It's napping and hasn't come to them. Okay. Yeah. So have you been hyper-focused on paying off debt? Maybe it's time to give it a rest for a couple of months. You've just been paying everything to debt, and maybe you should rest and focus instead on building some additional financial margin in that emergency fund or funding a smaller dream. Maybe you have just completed a major purchase, like a house, Megan.
That would be, yes, it was.
And did that cost money?
It did.
It did. And maybe it's time to back off on some of your expenses for a little while so your finances can recover. If you've made a major investment recently, like a rental house, which I bought a rental commercial building, you need to let yourself breathe a while, let your money breathe so that you can replenish your investment account and, big word here, deleverage if you've used some debt to accomplish a deal. If you have debt, they call that using leverage, okay? And so it's good to take a break from this money stuff also once in a while. So when you're done with this podcast, kind of turn off thinking about this stuff and breathe and rest and nap. Maybe just close your eyes while you're listening to this podcast. Hopefully not while you're driving.
Hopefully you're not driving.
Yeah.
If you are driving, don't close your eyes.
Yeah, don't close your eyes. Pretend you're closing your eyes. Because it is good for the soul and it can be great for the wallet. So rest. It is the week of Thanksgiving. Rest. That's the word for today's current money events section.
I feel like it got me kind of sleepy.
It is a little bit.
Like now I want to take a nap.
Drink some coffee. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just water.
Tell everybody about some successes.
Yes, we have them. All right. Our success story today is from Lindy, and she wrote in.
I like that name, Lindy.
Yeah, Lindy. It's catchy.
Not Linda.
I like
Lindy.
it. I like it.
Is
Good
that
job.
short for something longer?
Well, I'll have to ask Lindy.
Okay.
What is it short for, Lindy? I think maybe it's just Lindy.
I like it.
Yeah. And she wrote in after attending an FLE at her church, and she said, "I'm so fired up. It was a great asset to me to hear not only the live webinar, but also hear the debt talk at our church as well. My husband and I are hitting the debt straight on, and I want to thank you. Since the time we learned from you at the church, we have sold our house, and in 1 month we will have paid off all of our debt, about $18,000. Not only are we paying off debt, but we have an action plan already started to raise my husband's credit score and make a big down payment on our next house. We are able to come up with a quick, effective plan to get out of debt and up on our feet all before the age of 30.
Wow.
Being able to do this, I feel like we have a chance to get ahead of the curve for people our age."
Lindy?
Yes.
You're already ahead of the curve. Number one, you owned a house before you were 30. Number two, you're able to sell it with equity, pay off all your debt, and still have money left over for down payment on the next house. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that, Lindy, and taking the time to write it up. That was a lot of words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
And what I love is you and your husband are on the same page. And being able to work and collaborate together, that is so important. I love the fact that she's saying that the event apparently she watched the FLE, the live webinar. Maybe she watched one of our other webinars we did, and then the debt talk. But she's been able to learn in multiple ways, in person and online. And both of them were opportunities for her to learn. And she and her husband are on the same page. And they're doing this at a very young age. They have a huge chance to blow it out of the park financially.
Yeah.
Way to go, Lindy.
All right. So today's topic, we are going to talk about generosity. So intentional generosity, blessing others, all the above.
Have you ever been unintentionally generous?
Unintentionally generous. Have you?
I think there's been times that I've done something that somebody thought was generous and I didn't really think it was generous at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was maybe something that was just common to me,
Yeah.
you know?
I think so.
But what I like is the idea of being intentional with our generosity. And so intentional generosity is the big word here. And what I want to talk about is just as we plan our budgets, just as we plan things and we plan vacation, how much time do you spend planning a vacation?
A good amount of time planning
A year, half a year? Do you have any vacations planned for next year?
Currently, we have the idea of
Some
vacations
of them are derailed
planned.
a little bit. Yep.
But
some of our breaking news around
if
here.
you didn't watch the last episode,
Yeah, you need to go back and watch
go
it.
watch 176.
There's some breaking news. Right? But you usually plan what, half a year, a year?
At least.
Yeah.
Depends on if it's like
It's just
if it's domestic, probably you could get away with 6 months. International, then
domestic and international. You've been name the countries you've been to.
we've been to India, we've been to St. Lucia, we've been to Israel, we've been to Greece, we've been to Turkey, we've been to Honduras, we've been to, I guess Puerto Rico is in the United States, but yeah,
It is. It's
a domestic
one of our
territory.
Territories. Yes.
But that was the last place we went. Was
But
Puerto
you
Rico.
plan things. Is planning what'd you say there?
That was the last place we went. Was
That
Puerto
was the
Rico.
last place you went. Yeah. So you would plan a vacation, you plan a vehicle purchase, we ponder a home purchase. Just as we deeply consider an investment, I am submitting that we should all do the same for our generosity. And that means if you plan your generosity, then it becomes intentional generosity. And so let's share some ways that we can be generous. Go.
Yeah, I mean, you could be generous with your time.
Right? So you be generous with your time. And when you're generous with your time, what does that mean? You know, look at your calendar right now. Is it focused only and exclusively on stuff that benefits you? Or what would it look like, or what would it be like to see some time carved out for things that bless and benefit others? Now, I personally have chosen to intentionally carve out time to I'm glad you're sitting down, Megan, for this. But if you're standing somewhere listening to the podcast, I want you to sit down. But I intentionally carve out time for the Boy Scouts of America, and I have a huge position now. I am a committee chair for a local troop, Troop 84 in Anderson, South Carolina. And the reason I do that is I want to give of that time, which is an every week commitment.
There's a lot of
every
commitment
Tuesday
on your
night,
calendar.
to help grow up excellent leaders for the future, to help young people experience community, and to facilitate key relationships that develop young people into confident young adults. And so that's how I intentionally carve out time that I could definitely do other things with. But it also gives me time with my son, who is in Boy Scouts of America. And so how are you intentionally generous with your time?
Yeah, so one example, I mean, I think there's definitely, for both of us, I feel like there would be a lot of examples, but one specifically is my husband and I carve out time to devote to Clayton King Ministries, and they have a summer camp, so it's called Crossroads Summer Camp. They have a winter conference in January. They do mission trips and all that kind of stuff. My husband and I have gone on mission trips and led mission trips with them. You know, that was definitely some of our time that we dedicated, but that we felt like was a important thing that we needed to do as a family. We actually spent our first Christmas married. Imagine that. First Christmas married. We spent on a mission trip in India. So we decided we didn't want to have to figure out which family to go to, that serving overseas was a better option for us. But, you know, I mean, my husband does work for Clayton King Ministries, but for me, I devote my time to it. So I Summer camp is 6 weeks long. They have another week of training. So that's basically our entire summer that we're spending there. We're pouring into the summer staff, which are college age kids, but also there's anywhere between 6th to 12th graders that come through. And there's like 5,000 kids that come through that we're devoting our time to and studying that up and all that kind of stuff. And then there's a winter conference over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend in January that we devote our time to as well. So we're very invested in the ministry, not only because my husband works there, but also because we believe in it. We've seen the effects of it. We've been impacted by it personally, and we've seen others be impacted by it. So it's something that we want to invest our time in.
You met Jordan.
I met Jordan. Yes. So we interned together.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
So were you summer staff at some point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you are. Look at it.
6 years.
Hey, listen, you're looking for a spouse. You might want to be summer staff at Clayton King Ministries Crossroads Summer Camp.
Apply now.
So listeners, what I want to ask you is, how are you intentionally giving your time away to serve others?
Yep.
I have a twin brother. He's a doctor. He's gave away a bunch of time to administer the vaccine for COVID-19 over the last year and a half. And a lot of times after working a 24-hour shift. Yeah. And he would go, vaccinate, 300 people or something. Pretty unbelievable. Yeah. So I want you to think about that. How are you doing that intentionally? Now, we can be generous with our time. How else can we be intentionally generous?
Yep. So another one that we can do is be generous with our talent.
Right. So our talents. So what are, podcast listeners, your unique talents? What makes you you? What is that special thing that you can do? How can you utilize that talent to intentionally bless others? Now, I have a unique talent. It's related to the outdoors.
Just one unique talent.
Yeah.
You have lots of unique talents. You said I have a unique talent.
Now, I can identify almost all birds by their sound, by their nest, by their eggs, or their appearance. I can identify a ton of plants and trees by their leaves, by their fruits, the bark, or their growth habit. And I have become an excellent deer hunter. I can forage for mushrooms, muscadines, Chickasaw plums, raspberries, blackberries, and many grains. I can identify soil structures, including medium over moderately fine soils and the ever-elusive fragipan. I regularly take the lead on nature hikes to share this knowledge with others, generally on Boy Scout hikes.
I was about to say, Boy Scouts.
So, now you may not view that as a talent. You may view that as a curse that you would know all this information. It seems somewhat useless at times. But I love sharing that. It's something I'm passionate about. I thought about going into ornithology. I love birds so much. I kept books and records of nests as a young boy. Seems kind of weird now when I think about it. I started a bird watching club.
Hey, you do you.
10 cent a year membership is what it was. 10 cents. They made me give all the dimes back when I collected them in kindergarten. I wasn't kindergarten. I think I was first or second grade. I had a little book. It was awesome. I had no plans, really. It was just winging it. Nothing like any type of membership program we've had here at Monday Money Tip Podcast. Megan, tell us how you're generous with your time.
Yes, definitely. Get away from you. So we were talking about our talent.
Your talent.
My talent.
Not mine. Stop talking about me. Stop talking about my mom.
Gosh. So I don't think that this one has to be complicated. And so I think, one thing, I love kids. I have a 2-year-old. I'm about to have twins. If you didn't watch the last episode, surprise. And so, so I love kids. It's fun to have them over. So the other day a friend had to go to an appointment. So I was like, hey, just drop your kid off. No need to pay a babysitter. Just drop her off here. She can hang out with us. But something like that, that's easy. And I've done it with them. They've said, hey, drop Logan off here if you need to. But it's something like that that's easy where I'm able to share something that I love. So I'm able to play and hang out with my kid, but also somebody else's kid and have fun with them. Maybe it's volunteering in the church nursery or helping out for a special event or something like that. But also my husband and I we consider ourselves pretty handy. And so we've built a lot of things at our house. We've done, my husband, I feel like, can fix anything. But something like simple was our neighbor needed help with his Christmas lights. He doesn't like heights. So Jordan was like, I'll do it. So he did his entire house of Christmas lights just because that's...
Does Jordan want to come to my house this year?
He might.
That'd be amazing. I'd even pay him U.S. currency. That's awesome.
But it was just one of those things where Jordan was like, this is something that I can do. I I would say hanging Christmas lights is a talent.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you go on a ladder and a roof.
Without falling.
Jordan is very like, you would never know he's on a roof the way that he walks. He's just very confident and comfortable up there. And so he's like, this is something I can do to bless them.
Don't let Logan see that, because then he'll be up on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
But it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be something easy like those things. Or, like you don't have to necessarily have this in-depth talent of the woods and trees and birds. If you do, that's great. But yeah, you could be something just like that.
And I, another talent I have, which was fun to include in a recent podcast episode, is I like playing the piano. And I'm not a professional by any measure, but I can play a lot of stuff pretty well, especially hymns and old folk songs, Christmas songs. And I could utilize that talent at nursing homes on a regular basis. And so, give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or comment on which hymn you want me to play in a future upcoming episode of the podcast, and maybe we will do that.
Do you have like a piano that travels? Like what are those called? The
keyboard?
Keyboard, yeah.
I do not. I need one of those. Maybe I could play while I'm teaching my classes. It'd be awesome.
Well, you could bring it in and play a little bit.
Yeah, we can be intentionally generous with our time, with our talent. What is the last thing we could be intentionally generous with?
With our treasure.
Yes, so time, talent, and treasure. Mm-hmm. And this is one where many people stumble, but you can be just as intentional with your money and valuable possessions as you are with your time and talent. Yes. And so you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So we intentionally tithe through our local church. We also give to different ministries we've been a part of that we've seen God moving or want to be a part of. But we also have, which we're going to mention in just a little bit, so I don't want to give away too much, but we have a line item in our budget that talks about intentionally blessing others, being intentional. And so I'll talk about that one a little bit more, but that one is a really fun one for us that allows us to use our treasure in a different way than you might necessarily think.
Right, yeah. And it's excellent. And we also, Jenny and I, intentionally return the tithe to God through our local church. I'm very passionate about that. I was paying the bills last night and made that happen. I also intentionally give to churches and other nonprofits that have effective ministries. And my bride and I also, we intentionally give to a nonprofit Bible study group that she participates in called Bible Study Fellowship. And she's had many friends join her. We also intentionally give to Purdue University, go Boilers, boiler up, hammer down, where we both graduated with our undergraduate degrees. And we have that special category in our budget, just like you and Jordan do, called
Intentionally Bless Others.
Right. And so the way this works is, in addition to our intentional giving to things that are known and defined before the month begins, we believe there will be opportunities throughout the month where we'll see a need that we didn't know existed, and then we see it, and we want to be intentionally prepared to be able to make something happen for somebody. And so we allocate a certain amount of money. We pull it out in cash every month. It's put into an envelope. And when we see a need, or our kids see a need, we invite our children into this. We can just give it. A couple of examples. I remember one year around Christmas, this young family was up there, and you could tell they were struggling to make the bills work at the cash register. And they were buying some Christmas gifts that appeared, and they were buying Christmas gifts that had food products in them so that they could use their EBT food credits to buy them. And apparently chocolate-covered cherries qualified because they had cherries in them. But a couple things didn't. And they totaled up. It was like $7 and something. I'll never forget this. And the lady's face just turned beet red with embarrassment and like humiliation. And she's like, just put it back, whatever it is, put it back. And her husband, he's embarrassed, but he's like, let's just figure out how to pay for it. And they scrambled together and got a bunch of wadded up dollar bills and managed to pay for it. But you could tell it was a massive stressful thing for them. And so I had the money with us. And so I took out a 50 and had my little daughter, who's now not little, she's 22, if you can believe it. I had her run up as they were walking away, and I was paying for mine, and give it to them and just say, here, I wanted to give this to you. Merry Christmas. Jesus loves you. And I told her, just hand it to him and just turn around and walk away. And I got to go see her do that and come back. And it's just so cool to let her be a part of that journey. And that same daughter at a time had a friend who was being raised by her grandparents. Parents are not really in her life. And her grandparents had definitely not prepared to raise another kid. And she wanted to have some Chuck's Converse shoes, these Chucks. And my daughter said, hey, can I use some of that money to buy her a pair of Chucks? Well, the answer, of course, was yes. And so she got to give her friend some Chucks. And I thought that was a wonderful use of intentionally bless others with our treasure.
Yeah. That's sweet. Yeah. I mean, there could be examples like we've paid for someone's groceries that are in front of us that just like you, they don't have the money. And we've been able to do that. Like, hey, let us cover it. And it's always that moment where they're like, no. And you're like, let us bless you, But then it's also like paying for the person's like Starbucks behind you. Like that's an easy way. Like even when I've had that done for me, like I was in Starbucks in the line one day and this lady like cut me off in front of me and like got in front of me in the line. And now, I was kind of like, really? Like there's a line for a reason, but y'all wait in it.
You rule follower. I cut in the line all the time.
I hate it. Well, it wasn't like it was like she intentionally like cut me off to get in the line before me.
Person.
I know, right? But then she paid for my coffee.
Whoa.
So I was like, okay, that makes up for it. You can cut in front of me anytime.
Have a name and description? I need to see that person.
Yeah. But there's things like that we've been able to do. Or
do you think they did it to be intentionally generous, or you think they did it because they felt guilty?
I think
it was a guilt offering.
Maybe.
It was a guilt offering. I'll accept such guilt offerings.
Yeah.
But let's assume the best in people.
Yes.
It was intentional generosity.
Yep. But then we've also had friends that have wanted to go on like a mission trip or something like that and need help raising the money, and we've been able to give that. There's a lot of we've seen a lot of good come from mission trips, and so we want to be able to help other people when they're raising money.
Yeah.
So do different things like that, where there could be a wide variety. You could see the need right away, or the need could present itself to you. So having that category allows you to be able to meet that need whenever it arises.
And we're super excited. We have a giving challenge that is being launched here at I Was Broke Now I'm Not, and it is absolutely free. Many of our other challenges, the 40-day budget challenge, the spending challenge, the savings challenge, our upcoming investing challenge, they do cost money, and this one costs us money to produce as well. But we're giving it to you absolutely free to lead the way in generosity. And do you have a specific way they can sign up? I know they can go to iwasbrokenowimnot.com. Is there a special link that they can follow?
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes. But you could also go to iwasbrokenowimnot.com
/giving.
Yeah.
And
giving,
just
/ giving / generosity, either one.
Yeah. / generosity.
Yeah.
iwbnin.com / generosity. That is the link. We'll have it in the show notes as well for you to sign up for that. Make sure you sign up for it. It's absolutely free. And we're going to inspire you, hopefully, to be intentional with the generous use of your time, your talent, and your treasure. You could call it a triple play of generosity. And the try, TRI, we could say you could try giving. It'll be awesome. The quote for today is actually a verse in the Bible found in Luke 6:38. Jesus himself said it. He said, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. And he says an important promise and a truth. For with the measure you use, it'll be measured to you. So let's use big measures this generous season. Hey, tell everybody what we're going to talk about in our upcoming episode.
Yes. So our next episode, we're going to talk about why I should give to my church.
There you go. Why should I give to my church? It's a good question.
Yeah.
Hey, if you like today's episode, please help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. Just share it on your social media platforms. The greatest honor that we could receive is that you would care enough to share this podcast with your friends in social media. You can also share your success stories when you've implemented one or more of our tips with us by emailing it to us at info@iwbnin.com or by commenting on any of our social media platforms. If you're on YouTube, click the thumbs up button. Leave a comment on your favorite Thanksgiving food, a recipe if you wish to share it, and click the little bell if you want to be notified of each episode, and you can click subscribe as well. I will say as we close this out, it is Thanksgiving week. Hey, make sure you call those you're not able to gather with. For those you gather with, make sure you say the words that need to be spoken. It is a season of gratitude. Let's all lead the way with generosity. Have a great week, everybody, and eat a lot of turkey.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.